We are back. Peanut Gallery, take it away.
Well, I think we talked about the whole situation with Mike Bailey ad nauseum.
Yes.
So we probably don't need to go back into that. So we can, I guess, move on to the second thing. So I find this whole story interesting with Jon Moxley. So Jon Moxley apparently is the brainchild behind this. I don't know if I call it, he calls it a reboot.
Yes.
I don't know if I really want to call it a reboot because it really doesn't feel like a reboot. But he apparently is the mastermind behind this entire story arc that is happening. This whole quote takeover.
That's why it looks like it's signed. That's why it looks like it's being written by a drunk man.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's going to work because because this story has been hashed out before.
Mm-hmm.
It has been, and you can say it hasn't been, but we have seen this whole power struggle storyline happen many times because there is one man who is very famous for those power struggle storylines, and his name is Vince Russo. And we've also seen it kind of gives me NWO vibes, but that's not a good thing.
Maybe NWO if you order it on goddamn Temu.
Yeah, it pretty much is. And again, like the original iteration of NWO was actually good. You know, outsiders coming in, taking over the company, whatever. It did get convoluted at the very end. But again, this is a storyline that we have seen time and time again. And you might get something out of it, but it's very doubtful. Just because
we've already seen it. Mm-hmm. He's already keep in mind, he is the AEW World Champion. He is the pedestal of this company.
But he doesn't feel like it.
No.
He does not have that it factor.
It's not bringing in the numbers.
No.
Nobody is going out of their way to watch this dumb Death Rider shit. They're just not.
Yeah.
And this is your main eventer.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard because there just isn't anyone matching on the babyface side.
There
isn't anyone.
Orange Cassidy does not match it. He's terrible at promo. Pockets is not good.
No.
So stop pretending that he's good.
You know, that's what AEW is. AEW is, they have a strong heel. I mean, as strong as it's going to get. But you don't have a matching babyface to fight for that. It doesn't matter very much.
The only group that I can fathomably see to match this Death Riders is if you churn the Elite babyface and Kenny Omega comes back as a babyface.
Right.
That's the only person that I could
fathomably
think of a possible, actually big draw match because Moxley and Omega were the rivalry.
They were, yeah. That was the big rivalry at the very beginning. That'll probably bring back a little bit of nostalgia in that too, and maybe inspire some people to contemplate this. But I do want to give Moxley credit. At least he is trying to do something a little bit different. Because obviously the same thing over and over and over again is just not working.
This whole segment is never in the main event platform. It's never established as main event, and that's the other problem.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the fucking show.
So it just feels like an afterthought.
Yeah, it's an afterthought. I mean, Cody Rhodes does his segment in the beginning and in the main event. Those are the two spots that you want to hit the hardest.
That's where you want to hit. That's where the numbers come in.
Yep. It's either you are the last thing on the card, which is the main event segment, or you're the first thing on the card to get the blood through.
Yep.
Or the bleed over from the previous show.
Right.
That's just how it is. Yeah. But this is in the fucking smack dab in the middle of the show.
Yeah, it needs to be reoriented. It has the AEW has it's an orientation problem.
Along with 20 million other problems. But this is just one of them.
Yeah. And so, speaking of AEW, Full Gear has made a big deal out of the stupid song that they had for
November Rain by, I believe it was
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
And apparently, I don't know if this has actually been confirmed, but I guess they're doing an AEW themed music video around it.
I think it already happened. I think it happened on Collision.
Oh, okay. And
why do it there? This does not do anything.
I don't see how it could be a widely appeal. It doesn't have the wide appeal that I think is being expected.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think what Tony Khan was trying to do was harken back to the Attitude Era promo, like the video packages that they did, where they had that. But here's the thing. That was 20 That was 20 years ago.
At least 20 years
At
ago.
least
maybe
20 years
maybe
ago.
That was 25, 26 years ago at this point.
Like there has to be something different. I like what other companies do is bring in the indie stuff. What Bray Wyatt did. Did you know that one song that he had, "Living in Fear," the theme song when he was the Wyatt guy, the cult leader? That was a fully indie band.
Yeah.
He just found them on SoundCloud. He's like, I like this song. I want to use it. I'm going to build it around. That's what he did.
Right.
That's cool. It's like, okay, Guns N' Roses, neat. Yeah, Guns N' Roses were popular 20 years ago.
Yeah, and the thing is with the WWE, when they bring in musical artists like this, they're bringing in people who are current. They're bringing in people who are currently very popular
fucking
right now.
Jelly Roll. I mean, that guy right now is fucking killing it.
Yeah, he's very popular. Guns N' Roses, sure, there's a fan base for it, but it's not a very wide fan base.
This is not the 80s Guns N' Roses. This is not Axl Rose. This is not Slash. This is not the Guns N' Roses that you think it is.
Right.
I mean, like I said, 30, 40 years ago in the 80s.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses was our dad's favorite fucking band.
Right. I mean, and
I think.
Again, I don't, I'm not like privy into the whole music scene, but yeah, Guns N' Roses has aged out of relevancy for the most part. I mean, like I said, there is a certain segment that does like Guns N' Roses, but that is not the segment that is going to bring in the money. That is not the segment that is going to have the widest appeal.
Exactly.
So that's all I wanted to say about that, but let's talk a little bit more about Collision because they moved venues.
So this is what happened. This was not canceled by AEW. This was canceled by the venue.
Okay, is that confirmed?
It was confirmed that the venue was the one who made the announcement that the show was being canceled.
Okay. And then the tickets got refunded. And then I think that Collision, either they had a lucky-ass break and happened to have a convention going on at the exact same time, or they were desperate.
Yep, I think it
was a combination of
it was a combination. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they were like, let's do something a little bit different. Maybe they do have a backup somewhere.
Right.
And a lot of their stars are going to show up at that convention anyway. So it's like, let's bring in a ring. Let's do like a little show.
Yep, we'll make it a Collision taping.
But once again, here's the thing. I don't necessarily mind that though.
No, I don't mind that either. I think that's a good venue for AEW because that hits the fan base right where they're at.
Yeah,
like those are the kinds of people that A, are interested in wrestling, B, are young enough to want to do something cool and interesting. I mean, that's probably why Collision was in Columbus to start with, was because there was that market that was already going to be there.
They can't even sell out fucking Chicago anymore. I mean, Columbus is pretty much right out the door there too.
But I think that they got either blessed with the lucky break or they made a very strategically good move.
Right.
So I don't know how it's
I'll give them their flowers. I like it when a Collision does these different.
Yeah, I liked it when they have the residency at the esports arena.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that was a really
good presentation.
It was a cool setup. The crowd was super hot with it. It's like, it doesn't have to be a big place. It doesn't. I don't care if it's like 500 people. I'd rather be in that crowd because they're loud and energetic. It's like that's where I want to be, instead of literally 3/4 of an empty venue. It's sad.
I wonder if AEW should start doing their shows at college venues and start providing cheap tickets for students to come and
like old school NXT when they were at Full Sail, when they did all their shit at Full Sail. I'm sure they could do something with Full Sail. Full Sail is a production college,
right? And most college venues are smaller than your traditional major arenas are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it. Anyway, but that's just me going off on a tangent. Let's go to Cody Rhodes. And the reason I want to talk about this is because Cody Rhodes was recently on ESPN as a celebrity guest for their college game day stuff. And people are talking about how, Cody Rhodes is not Roman Reigns. And that is true. Cody Rhodes is not Roman Reigns in terms of the, in-ring star power. But Cody Rhodes is a babyface. And what most people don't understand is that WWE is not a wrestling company. It is an entertainment company. They create stars. That is their job. And Cody Rhodes has proven himself to really be a star. Right. And it shows in the fact that he is appearing on these non-wrestling sort of networks. And a lot of wrestlers do it. And I think that, I mean, again, that's what WWE's formula always has been. They have always had stars outside of wrestling because
WWE makes their wrestlers into influencers.
Yes.
When you want to have that backing with you and make yourself into that position, you want to be with WWE because then you are an influencer just by proxy.
Yep. And remember too, WWE and UFC are both owned by essentially a talent agency.
Yep.
That's what Endeavor is. Endeavor was WME, and most of their stars were signed with WME.
Yep.
Who is a talent agency. So they are interested in not just having their stars perform in the ring or in UFC's case in the cage, in the octagon, but also outside of it.
I think they're a little more aggressive with it with WWE wrestlers
WWE
for some wrestlers.
Yeah, because WWE is more the entertainment.
Right.
Whereas, UFC is a little more of the combat sport. But there are some stars that do go out of their way to, like they produce or they star in films or whatever the case may be.
I mean, maybe not as much now. They do, but the problem is, I mean, other than maybe Jon Jones, there isn't really anybody else that stands out. There's no Conor McGregor right now. There's no Daniel Cormier right now because they're retired.
Yeah.
They just have to start bringing those up. And I'm sorry, sometimes characters work. Conor McGregor was a louder than life. He was a character.
Yeah, and UFC doesn't really emphasize that as much as WWE does. I mean, WWE is literally character building.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. But anyways, that's what I want to talk about. So gripe about all you want about Cody Rhodes in his WWE Championship reign. The reason why he's champion right now is because he is so popular, not just in the ring, which is very clear, which is very evident because of all the sellouts, but also he has appeal outside of the ring. Like, political parties from both sides don't want you to be interested. Don't approach you for a possible political career if you don't have that star power.
Exactly. And Cody Rhodes does that. He was approached by both of them. Isn't that absolutely insane?
Right.
I mean, I don't think the last time something like that happened was Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Right. But yeah. So that's kind of where I stand with all that.
Yep. So that was the news. When we come back, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.